Have you ever paused to think about your paycheck? You know, that direct deposit hitting your account, maybe that wage slip you glance at? What if I told you that every single one of those has this faint echo, almost like a ghost,
Hmm.
of a handful of a simple white crystal? It's something so ordinary, really, so ubiquitous. You probably have a shaker of it sitting in your kitchen right now. But centuries ago, this crystal was, well, anything but ordinary. It was incredibly precious.
It sounds almost like fantasy, doesn't it? A bit wild. But honestly, for vast stretches of human history, this seemingly humble crystal, it held such immense value. Entire civilizations, devastating wars, the actual rise and fall of empires literally hinged upon it.
Yeah.
Its significance, its monetary worth. Truly, it was beyond anything we can easily imagine today.
That's right, we're talking about salt. And today you're joining us for a deep dive into this astonishing journey. We're looking at how the very word salary directly stems from payment in salt. We're going to uncover the incredible and honestly often overlooked history embedded right there in a word you use every single payday.
Yeah, our mission today is really to trace that journey. We'll follow salt's path, from being this absolutely essential commodity, the very bedrock that sustained armies, allowed empires to thrive, all the way to the seemingly mundane, everyday term we use for our wages. By the end of this deep dive, you'll discover hidden history that hopefully makes your next paycheck feel a little less ordinary.
Okay, let's really unpack this, because for us now, it's hard to even conceive of salt being profoundly valuable. How did something so common, so readily available in our kitchens, become such a cornerstone of ancient economies and, well, survival itself?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? And the fundamental driver was pretty simple. Before modern refrigeration, before canning or freezing, salt wasn't just about taste, it was the critical technology for preserving food. Imagine a world where, I don't know, every piece of meat, every fish caught would spoil within days, maybe hours, without help. Salt totally changed that.
So not a luxury item at all. It was literally about existing.
Precisely. It allowed communities to store food for long periods, right? To survive harsh winters, to embark on extended journeys, and critically, to provision armies. Think about it. A well-fed army could march further, fight longer, project power. An army without a reliable way to preserve its rations was, frankly, a vulnerable army. So salt literally fueled conquest and expansion.
Wow, that paints such a vivid picture. And it wasn't just a local thing, was it? We're talking global trade routes being shaped around this one substance.
Absolutely. Think of the Sahara Desert, for instance.
Yeah.
We have records of these massive camel caravans, sometimes stretching for miles, crossing those vast, unforgiving landscapes, carrying not gold or silks, but huge, heavy blocks of salt. These were monumental undertakings, fraught with danger, incredible hardship.
Yeah.
Just to move this vital stuff from mines to markets. The sheer effort involved tells you everything about its value. And in some ancient markets, especially those far from salt sources, it really wasn't uncommon for salt to be traded ounce for ounce with gold.
Ounce for ounce with gold.
Yeah, it truly held the status of a precious metal in many places, a kind of universal currency people use for food, clothing, even property.
That's just mind-boggling. Salt as valuable as gold. And that brings us right to the Romans, doesn't it? Because this is where we find the actual origin of our word salary.
Indeed. This is where it gets really fascinating, that direct etymological link. It emerges right from this ancient critical value. The word salary comes directly from the Latin salarium. And initially, this wasn't some abstract sum of money. It was literally, tangibly, a portion of salt paid to soldiers as part of their wages.
So wait, a Roman legionnaire may be far from home defending the empire. He wasn't just handed coins, but an actual pouch of salt. That's quite an image.
It is, isn't it? Imagine being that legionnaire. Your survival, your ability to sustain yourself on a long, hard campaign depended directly on the provisions your commander supplied. So, commanders issued salt as a critical component of a soldier's pay. It ensured they could preserve their rations, make their often bland food a bit more palatable, or, even trade it for other things they needed. This wasn't just some token gesture, it was a life or death allowance.
So they'd actually line up for their salt payment.
Exactly. Roman soldiers would line up, often receiving their portion of salt in small leather pouches. It was this visible, almost visceral reminder that their very survival, their ability to keep serving, literally depended on this vital commodity. And this payment, this essential allowance of salt, was called the salarium. As the practice became embedded, as its importance was just cemented into daily life in military logistics, the meaning of the word salarium started to expand. It began to refer to wages more generally, whether paid in salt or coins or other goods.
Yeah.
And that direct linguistic line leads us straight to our modern English word, salary. It's a clear, unbroken thread, from an ancient practical necessity to a common financial term we use every day.
And if you thought salt was just about wages, well, wait until you hear how it literally shaped the physical landscape of the Roman Empire. This is where it gets really amazing for me. The Romans didn't just pay in salt. They invested huge resources and infrastructure specifically for salt. They actually constructed the Via Salaria, the salt road, stretching right across Italy.
Think about that for a moment. An entire vital trade highway,
Yeah.
a major artery of their sprawling empire, not built for gold or marble or even military conquest directly, but specifically because salt was so absolutely crucial to their economy, their military's food supply, the well-being of their citizens. This wasn't just some dirt track. It was a monumental strategic investment, a real testament to salt's fundamental value.
So these roads weren't just about moving stuff around. They were actually about securing the empire itself.
Precisely. If you connect this to the bigger picture, these salt routes were absolutely fundamental to the Roman Empire's success, its cohesion. They connected distant provinces back to Rome itself, linking coastal ports where salt could be harvested or imported to inland towns and military outposts that desperately needed it. These paths kept food preserved, kept the legions fed, and as a result, kept the empire thriving and unified. It really illustrates a fundamental truth. Controlling any essential commodity, especially a perishable one that needs preserving, is inherently a source of immense power.
And that power wasn't subtle, right? I remember reading something about salt being displayed quite prominently.
Yes, absolutely. In the Roman Forum, the bustling heart of Roman commerce and power, sacks of salt were often displayed almost like priceless treasure. And this wasn't just symbolic. It was a clear demonstration to everyone passing through, merchants, citizens, soldiers, that controlling salt really meant controlling wealth, controlling trade, and ultimately exerting a significant aspect of imperial power. The display itself just underscored its immense, tangible value to the whole population.
That's such a powerful image, the very foundation of an empire tied in part to this simple white crystal. But, this deep dive isn't just a Roman story, is it? This global significance, this whole salt is wealth idea, it played out across the ancient world and into later periods too, shaping economies and power structures in really fascinating ways, far beyond just the Mediterranean.
Absolutely, you're spot on. The reach and impact of salt were truly global and remarkably consistent across different cultures and geographies. Consider ancient China, for example. Salt wasn't just consumed, it was a major industry. They harvested salt by boiling seawater in these enormous pans. It was labor-intensive, sure, but highly productive. It sustained entire villages. These communities thrived on salt production and trade, making it a cornerstone of their local economies.
And I bet the taxes on salt played a huge role in state power there too.
Oh, indeed. The taxes levied from this vital industry became an absolutely crucial source of revenue for the Chinese state. They enriched entire dynasties, allowing them to fund massive projects, maintain vast armies, fight wars, and ultimately consolidate and maintain their power over centuries. Controlling salt was a direct route to state wealth and stability there as well.
So from China to Rome, and then back to those desert caravans we touched on earlier. That Sahara salt trade sounds like it went on for ages.
It really did. And the Sahara trade is maybe the perfect illustration of salt as a form of portable wealth. Imagine those caravans again, carrying not just food, but these immense slabs of rock salt, some weighing hundreds of pounds, across vast distances, specifically for trade. These slabs were directly exchanged for gold from West African mines, for ivory, and tragically, even for slaves. In that context, salt wasn't just a commodity, it essentially was currency, a valuable, non-perishable asset you could trade for almost anything else you desired in different markets.
And what about closer to home, say in Europe? Did it have that same kind of transformative power there after the Romans?
Definitely. In medieval Europe, we saw very similar patterns of wealth generation centered around salt. Major port cities, located strategically along crucial trade routes, grew incredibly rich, often simply by unloading barrels upon barrels of salt, frequently brought in by sea. Cities like Venice, for instance, became these immensely powerful city-states. They didn't just participate in the salt trade, they actively sought to dominate the crucial salt rights across the Mediterranean and beyond. Their control over salt production, its distribution, the taxation, that became a cornerstone of their commercial empire. It allowed them to build immense fortunes and establish themselves as major economic and political players.
Wow. So this incredible worldwide history of salt's profound value, its absolute necessity for human life, for imperial ambition, It quite literally got carved into our languages.
Hmm.
It forged this direct, undeniable link between survival, essential stuff, and the very concept of wages. And we still see it reflected in our everyday words, often without even realizing the centuries of human history packed into their syllables.
Exactly right. That Latin salarium started as a specific payment in salt, and its profound importance to life, trade, military might just ensured it stuck around, evolving as languages themselves evolved. In Spanish, for example, it became salario, and for centuries, that direct connection to sal remained pretty clear in the language. Then, through linguistic shifts, the mingling of cultures over time, in English, it evolved into our modern salary.
And that's what's so fascinating, isn't it? We use that word completely without a second thought.
It's just an ordinary word today, right?
Yeah.
Something we use without ever reflecting on its deeper meaning, probably every week or month. But as you can see now, it carries this salty legacy hidden in plain sight. Every single payday, every direct transfer, every wage slip is actually a faint yet direct echo of those vital salt rations that once kept Roman soldiers alive, that enabled armies to march across continents, and allowed entire empires to be built and sustained. It's a truly remarkable journey for such a simple crystal.
So, the next time you look at your paycheck, maybe take a second. I hope you'll remember that behind that number isn't just money. It's a memory of human survival, of profound power dynamics that shaped entire civilizations, and, yeah, the rise and fall of great empires. All thanks, in part, to a substance once so precious it was literally worth its weight in gold.
This deep dive has really shown us, hasn't it, how something as fundamental, as seemingly simple as salt, could shape human history and our language so profoundly. And maybe it raises an interesting question for you, the listener, to consider. What other seemingly ordinary words do you use every single day? Words that might hold these incredible untold histories. Histories of human ingenuity, survival, global trade, just waiting there, hidden in plain sight for you to uncover them. There's probably a whole world of hidden stories right there in our vocabulary.